inherently I'm an extrovert, right? So I get my energy from those around me, right? And so like being being in community, right? In that moment with you and then Heather and the other friend that joined, that gave me the courage to say, we're doing this. We're doing this, right? And I think that obviously it was very cold getting in, and the anticipation leading up to it, and especially as you like slowly descend, because I think there's different strategies, right? Like, so Heather just like fucking dove in, right? I wasn't quite sure what your strategy was, but I was like coming in bit by bit, and for some people I feel like that's harder. I don't know. I haven't ever like just plunged in, like jumped in, so I can't say if that'd be easier for me. Suffice it to say, it's not easy to like get there, at least for me, as one of the few times that I've done it. But I think just being in community, being in communion rather with all of you gave me that will to say we're gonna fucking do this. And I think the other thing that sort of was a part of me in that moment. So long story short, about 7, 8 years ago, I had a mental breakdown. Right, it was the most powerful experience that I've had. It took me to my darkest dark, but I am who I am today because of that, right? And so while I was sort of grappling with that, one of my therapists who, really specializes in CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, one valuable lesson that she taught me is, in other words, embrace the suck. Sort of when things suck, just accept it and let go, right? And sort of don't fight it, right? As part of coping with my anxiety and like the disorder that I have. And I think in that same principle applied, because I knew that I needed to get fully in the water. There was no negotiating with that, right? And so I was just going to come to peace with it and just embrace it and go at my pace, give my body, but determined to get down to where the level that you were, which is up to your neck, right?
I have to go up to my neck. I can't do half. It's like
Yeah.
I had to go all the way in. And you like stuck your head under a couple times, and I was like, the reason I don't do that is because I was like, I don't want to have wet hair and be cold. Like, I keep my hands like this and just
Yeah.
like, which, I think there are like, that's the next step for me, is to like kind of just let my hands go and get okay with my hands, and like that's the nice thing about the other spot that we didn't go to, is like you can have the option, which I could have done like what Heather and what I think his name Ryan did, and they just like jumped in. But like then you like kind of jump in and you get fully submerged, then you come up and it's like this, because you get shocked when you jump into that water like full on, and you go completely submerged and you pop out and you're like and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna just chill in this cold water here now. So like my technique, I guess, at that moment was I just kind of went in slowly and I just feel it. I just feel all the cold and just submerge myself in, and just like, it's all in the head at that point. Because like, yeah, it sucks no matter what. Like, everything is cold. There's not going to be a moment that you get that's warm. So you can't even like hope for that. So at this point, it's all about like your mind just being like, all right, just like do something different than freak out. Like, do whatever you want except freak out right now. And so sometimes it'll be like, it's mostly for me, it's observing. So I'm just observing like, okay, what's getting coldest the fastest? Like, oh, it's like my legs. Or no, it's my feet. Like, oh, this is really warm now. And that's usually what helps is like, you start thinking about gratitude and being thankful for parts that like, oh, right here in my armpits. That's kind of warm, even though it's fucking cold. But you're like, that's kind of warm. It's warmer than my feet, or not as cold as my feet. And
Yeah.
so like there's like all these things that like you can either think about how bad it is and just freak out and get out of the water, which is cool, or you can like
Yeah.
learn to just like observe your mind and like observe what's going on and then utilize, the different tools of language like gratitude and being grateful and like I don't know, being curious of what's happening. And then when you can get like that, you can get real calm. And then I can look around and I can see you and I can see Heather and I can see Ryan and I can like be like, hey, what's going on? And then you can start to chat a little more. Then it's not all about you. It's about, oh, I'm here now. What's happening? Like, how's it going?
Yeah. Amazing.